So power issue today. Really excited today. Going to see Linc Hawks, who's a pro I've followed for a long time, taught and teaches Joe Miller, world long drive champion, and others. I mean, he's a committed coach, but he's also kind of built a reputation around power. And I think it'll be interesting to see. It's something I've never worked on, if it's something that can actually be developed. And I mean, obviously it can, but how much can it actually be controlled? It's going to be a fun one.
Mark, I'm Linc Hawks. I've been at the Shire London here for 10 years, been coaching 25, 30 years, coach full-time every day. My real passion hobby is long drive, which I've had a long-term association with, coaching Joe Miller. I've also got 2 or 3 other exciting new long drivers coming out now, and really building long drive in the UK and Europe, where it was never a sport outside really America and Canada.
So myself and Mercedes-Benz are on this kind of journey to discover the perfect drive, and distance obviously is a massive factor with the perfect drive, which we're going to discuss in today's episode. I'm really excited to be here with you and just kind of pick your brains on your long drive ideas. We'll get into more detail in a second, but obviously you must be feeling that distance is a huge factor in what might make the perfect drive for golfers.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's well known the correlation between driving distance and handicap. It's well known that the longest drivers do the best on tour. So the actual ability for them to create this, either through their body or the club or the ball or whatever, is of great interest to me. And even your average person on the street, there's generally much more they can get out of it, either the ball, their body or their swing. So it makes a huge difference to their handicap and their scoring, and probably their enjoyment of the game. But you can have people come in and they didn't hit it that well, but if they drove a few, I mean, they can drive home happy that day as well. So there's a great pleasure in doing that.
So distance in golf for this perfect driver we're hunting. Certainly distance isn't a box I tick, where I do feel like for my numbers I tick all the right boxes, but I just don't have speed. What is distance really meaning for golfers? Like, I mean, how far do I need to hit it, or do golfers need to hit it to be better?
Sure, so it depends what level you're playing at, Mark. So if you want to be a professional, I think Mark Brodie stated that you need to carry it about 270 to play on tour. Now, there's only a very select amount of people that play or will ever play on tour.
Yeah.
So your average person out there, really, depending on what tee they're going to use on the golf course, need to be able to hit it an adequate amount for them, yeah? As long as they don't play a course that's too long, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And then for them, distance for them will be what can they get out of their shot the most. And how I've always worked it is that I've started off with ball speed. So ball speed for me is king.
Yeah.
Now, if the person can, more so than clubhead speed, most people who come along for a lesson with me just don't hit the ball well enough. Mm-hmm. They don't find the middle of the face, their path, their angle of attack isn't so good. And, you know, looking at your numbers there, that isn't your issue at all. You know, you've obviously been on a few launch partners because your angle of attack and your spins and your launches is excellent.
So that's interesting. Just to stop you there then. So what you're saying is you're looking at ball speed, and the things that are going to influence people's ball speeds, for instance, if I was hitting 4 down opposed to 4 up, if everything else is equal, that's going to be an influencer on ball speed in a negative way.
Correct, yeah. So what happens is high launch, low spin. A lot of people have heard this high launch, low spin. So if you're hitting down on the ball, then you're going to have a lot of loft on your club to produce high launch. But the bigger the divergence between angle of attack and a lot of loft creates a lot of spin loft, which if people, a TrackMan actually have called this compression, is that then you're actually going to get not a very compressed ball, and a lot of spin loft gives you a lot of spin. Okay,
so, look, I want to hit a couple more shots. What's my ball speed on those shots there?
You're getting about 150.
Okay.
So is that about good?
That's about where I'll be. So I'm going to hit a few more shots trying to create exactly the same swing, but I'm going to now hit down, because I think I was up at those, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were good numbers, to be honest.
Because I'm normally about 2 or 4 up.
Yeah, so without going through all of them, 4, 3.5, so very consistent your angle of attacks. You're between 3 and 4 on my machine here, which is great numbers.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit some shots in my mind which are the same speed, same kind of energy, same kind of trying to find target, but I'm going to change my angle of attack. I'm going to go for 4 down. Cool. Have you got it? Can I guess it? You get it?
It's coming up right now.
I reckon level to 1 down.
So, first of all, you've dropped 5 miles an hour ball speed immediately.
And I can't drop.
And your angle of attack was 1 down.
Oh, that was a good guess.
1 down.
And what did I lose?
You lost immediately 5 miles an hour ball speed. And if yeah, it's a good shot. And if 5 miles an hour, if 1 mile an hour ball speed is worth 2 yards, you've just shelled 10 yards. Gone, done. Not to be seen again.
Yeah. Oh, it's bottom of the club. I'm not sure your reading will be true, but that was more down.
As this thing takes a little set away. So 1.5 down.
Really?
1.5 down, ball speed dropped again, low 140s, and I think there's a bit of a mistrike going on there as well. Yeah.
And what this is going to do is lead me on to our next point, which we'll come to in a second, because I'm now losing or leaving my comfort zone. So I can hit the ball further, or in this case for me shorter, but the further we start moving away from where I feel comfortable, there's going to be a trade-off, which is going to be the next question about, you know, should pros try and hit it further, which they all kind of do, but you've got high skill level, high skill set players compared to amateurs who maybe can't even connect with the ball. There might be some other questions they need to ask. That was more down and struck. I struck that.
4.3 down, you are good, yeah? Now, the ball speed was low 140s. You actually struck it quite well, though. Yeah. So there was a good element of the strike, but yeah, again, leakage of ball speed, but you were spot on, 4.5 down on that one.
So I think we can both agree distance is going to be a massive factor of me being able to compete at certain levels. And for most golfers, power leaks are there, like you saw when I went hitting up to hitting down, and there's other things. Strike obviously is a massive power leak, which I find with students. I'm sure you find the same.
No doubt, yeah.
I mean, Joe's longest hits are when he's got every angle correct and then nails it out the middle.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
he's just leaking no speed at all.
Yeah.
Angles of attack, delivered loft, 0 path, 0 face, so there is no loss, no leakage at all.
So then the next point, which we kind of touched on there, is who does distance make the most difference for, which we're going to kind of address now. So it's very clear there, Lee, when I started to move away from my comfort zone, how harder it came for me to hit the centre of the club, and also I felt harder to hit the target. So this kind of poses the question for the perfect drive. It's got to be subject to the standard of the player to a certain extent.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, on tour, you know, if you're going to have this 270, you're going to have good distance, and if you're slightly slow on speed, you might have to have a down angle of attack. For your average person, they've just got to get the most out of what they can get, and the first point of call might not be diving to try and get the club speed up, might be just delivering it better. But it has to be what's comfortable. A lot of people come to me and say, look, I'm desperate to get rid of this slice, I want to draw it, because the draws go much further. If they understand actually from a science point of view, fades can go the same distance as draws if delivered correct, their better thing might be actually to develop a great fade shot, not a draw shot.
So it's interesting then, isn't it? Because when you think of distance, we're all just thinking speed straight off the bat. I'm thinking going to the gym, I'm thinking about swinging it faster, I'm thinking about being 6'4" and a stronger person. But that's coming from someone who's got a quite optimized delivery. I know with students that I've worked with through the years, speed is one thing I very rarely, if ever, have worked on with many of my students. It's going to be maximizing strike consistency, location. Because strike location can have a massive effect on spin, not even on a missed strike. I mean as in if they're catching it dead centre, plumb centre, so maybe slightly high out the toe is going to give them more distance. Through to then, like you say, hitting up or down, and then even optimising loft. So when it comes to the first port of call for amateurs looking for that distance, we've got to get them measuring their delivery, surely. Is that what we're saying?
No doubt about it, Mark. What they've got to be able to do is see the least invasive way of improving what they've got without taking their swing to pieces. So launch monitors in the last few years have come out. They give us big clues. They're data collecting devices, but it says you might be able to do this, this or this, which is going to up your distance, whether it be angle of attack, as you said, strike location, whether it's taking someone from 8 degrees left out to into closer to 0. Any little things that can help them just to get the extra distance that will not be that damaging to the product they've got in the first place.
So what we got here, Lee? We're going to talk about speed. Are we going to play with my speed now?
Yeah.
I'm quite into this.
Yeah, we're going to have a go. So,
Good luck to you.
with you being a good player,
Oh, stop
obviously
it.
you've got a pattern of movement that you've established over a long period of time.
Absolutely.
It's interesting looking at your stats on the flight scope there, that they're very good.
Yeah.
You're optimal.
Yeah.
So for you, someone like who has those good numbers there, probably your next thing, if you're going to add a little bit of speed, would be to put a speed program in.
Yeah.
Over a period of time, you'd have to work it a little bit.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, first of all, would be to see is there a faster mark in there?
Correct,
Is
yeah.
there one hiding in there that you've never used before? Yeah.
And are you meaning one where I'm not doing my 10-finger grip step
Yeah.
through thing? So is there a same technique
Yeah.
faster
That
me?
can work it better.
Yeah.
And in speed development, I mean, long drivers are the kings of this, yeah. So what they'll do is that over a period of time, through quantity of shots, yeah, they hit a lot of balls with the driver. Obviously, they only hit driver because that's what they're doing, and also through repetition, and also maxing speeds out. So what a lot of people do is they don't swing with everything, and it's been proven that if you go for a max speed swing and try and push in that, it will then bring your normal swing speed up. Because it isn't about changing your swing and playing with a different model, it's about using your same model, same swing, same tempo that you love, but if you could train it to work faster, you'd actually get more distance out of that just by doing that. And it's fascinating to see whether, number one, there is a fast mark in there who you don't use, maybe there isn't, maybe there is, or secondly, could you train yourself enough to bring your own speed up, and then when you went back to play at your normal one, it will feel like you're hitting shots like that, but suddenly you're swinging at 105 miles an hour. But it does take a bit of work as well.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, speed is a skill, and develop any skill requires effort.
So what we'll see here, we've got one light, one heavy and one normal. They can't be too far away from the weight of a normal club. So 10% more or less then starts to throw out the chain of events.
Okay,
So for
it
me,
pushes me too far in a certain...
so people I see flashing tour sticks away, having a swing with them, they're just too light.
Yeah.
That doesn't, you might be able to get a nice swishy swing, but it doesn't relate to your golf swing because the object's too light. So let's have a couple of goes with some of these. And let's start with a light one. So this principle sort of overload over speed. So that's the over speed one. So we're expecting an upgrade in speed.
Because it's lighter.
Because it's slightly lighter, but not so light it doesn't feel like a golf club.
Yeah.
We'll do like a set of 5 to 10 swings, yeah?
Do you want me to continuously swing or stop
you continuous?
between so it's like back and through, back and through,
And
back
this
and through.
will make you puff a bit, yeah?
Yeah,
so
that's
10 of those.
Yeah, I'm good with exercise.
Yeah.
Oh, I've gone dizzy.
116 is the last one. Now,
Yeah.
you'd expect a bit of an upgrade, it's lighter, yeah?
Yeah.
So then we'll go to the medium one, which I think is
You
medium
might
on
need
there.
to go and get me some sugar, Matt. This one?
That one, mate. There.
This one?
Yeah, good. Let's take those two away from you. And this time, do 10.
Get me some honey, quick.
Do it where there's actually a little break between them. I'll call out the number between each of them,
Okay,
yeah?
so swing stop.
Yeah. And this is just taking your swing and just trying to make it move a bit faster, yeah?
This one is heavier or about the
Medium.
same? Medium.
Medium, that one.
So I'm going to try and swing this fast?
Yeah, everything you got.
Yeah.
The whole lot. 110.
And just to put it out there, with my club, we're around 100 on
Yeah.
your machine with me.
104. 109. 104.
Okay?
So what you see, there is someone in you who actually can swing it a bit faster.
Yeah.
And then I take that to the next level. The only thing with that, you're not hitting anything.
Yeah.
So there isn't a realistic thing.
Yeah.
Also, there's a big belief that you need some resistance. So when you actually want to be hitting something to get that extra little bit of speed out of you. Just as a Joe Miller story, he'll go away and body build for 2 months in the winter. Weather's too bad to get really fast, don't like hitting balls in the cold.
Yeah.
He'll come back, he'll turn up at 140, 141 every year.
Yeah.
It's his 6-week build up to get back up to 150 miles an hour.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so 7
For
weeks.
someone who's doing it as their life,
Yeah,
that 6 weeks of training,
yeah.
speed training, so that's gym, hitting balls, everything,
And he'll
to get back to his speed.
He'll up to about 300 balls a day.
Yeah.
So that man puts some serious time in. So he goes back gym, he always does gym, and then he starts the process. I've known him for a long time. He builds it up. So 140, 143, 145, 147, 140. And then once you've got it, and I found this with all speed training, once he's at that 150 and he's above at the moment, he's mid 150s at the moment, he'll hold it all season. So there is a big thing with speed training that once once you've built it, you can hold it, you can keep it going, but if you stop, it will slide away back to sort of your normal one there.
Brilliant. I think the most interesting thing for me today, which will be one of the take-home ones and hopefully for everyone watching, is that the speed is a skill, and that's something that just people are not they think it's a God-given right or not. They don't.
Everyone
think
has a ceiling, but you can develop it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, and that story there of Joe just kind of sums that up for me. He's someone who is skilled in that division, is still having to work harder than any of us work on our putting, on our chipping, on our iron play, on our tee shots, just to get up to that speed. How many of them down at home are practicing on speed? Next to none of them.
No, hardly anyone at all. Yeah. And as I said, I've learnt this through many years, and studying it as well, is that you can develop it as long as you do the right thing. So
and work around some good impact conditions.
Correct, obviously. Yeah, funnily enough, as I said to you earlier, that sometimes you can actually improve your swing. So we were laughing about lag and talking things like that. Suddenly you see someone who's been working on their speed, you then really feel, oh, that looks a bit different. And I can't take the credit because I didn't do anything. So just as they were developing their speed, suddenly the positions that maybe cameras hold suddenly have upgraded a little bit with no effort to upgrade them whatsoever. They just come along as part of it. I mean, obviously sometimes you have to change elements in someone's swing that might give them speed, but very often I've seen swings improve, look at better, and I can't take any credit. I've done nothing. Just got them swinging faster.
Well, they're just managing the forces better, I imagine. Do you know what I mean? If you are getting lots of forces coming out at the bottom, things like higher handles and those things are going to hurt you. You're going to want to deliver them in a more kind of reasonable way, I would guess.
Exactly that. As you say, the forces, club's going to get heavier. The faster you swing, you need to make a movement the other way. So you're seeing that people start to use, people are talking about using the ground.
They must use it so different.
Yeah, use it very differently, and that's exactly without doing anything different. They're just having to use it differently because they're creating different forces. Exactly that.
Well, here you go. We played Westwood. We played him around the Philly course at Close House, which is like the members' length smaller course, and we don't see much difference in about the first 4 holes, do we?
Nope.
Like it's 5 yards. It's nothing. It's not measurable with bounce. We get on a par 4, which is like 280 over water. I can't even begin to. He's just straight to the driver, knocks it on. He's got the option. It's in there. And then we get to about 16 or 15, and I'm like in his grill, slowly getting back at him, like in the game. And he just sends one 30-40 past me because I'm like, come on, Lee, hit a proper drive, can you? And and then we play him this year on the British Masters course, 480 yard par 4 uphill. It's a tough hole. I'm hitting a 22-degree hybrid into it second shot. He's hitting 8 iron. It's there.
And that's someone was telling me a similar story with Els years ago. They played with him. They thought everyone said he's really long, this guy. And the first couple of holes, nothing. And then suddenly, par 5, he's put it 60-80 past it. He's got another gear.
Why do you need? You just need to play golf. Some holes you do need to send it, and some holes you just want to be in the game, don't you?
So true. Perfect drive. There has to be some strategy behind it.
Of course there is. Well, that is an episode in the making. So I'm going to hit. How many shall I do at full pelt with this?
Let's do 4 before we run out of steam.
And the 5th with the driver.
And the 5th with the driver. 117.
Wow.
That's light though, the club, don't forget. But it's still fast. 117. 115 and a half. 110, running out of steam, I told you.
Yeah, it goes down, doesn't it? It's going down.
Quick,
I mean, I've noticed that when I test drivers, but here we go. So I'm just going to try and give this some speed. Hit that quite good.
So it was fast, the 103.
I mean, it's back to that original point. Speed is a skill. It's skill. It's not a skill I'm going to learn in 5 swings. I understand what golf's about. It's taken me. I started when I was 12 and played every second of every day. That's how I gain any kind of club face control. If I wanted to work on my speed, I need to put that same kind of skill set training in, don't I?
Exactly that. And then,
that's not the answer any of us want, though. It's true though, isn't it?
But work-wise,
we don't want it to be a skill. We want it to be something I can pay you to just give.
That's right. Or be blessed by it. That's true.
It's the same answer every time, isn't it? You just got a blooming work hard.
Yeah, there is, and it is just putting some time in. I mean, I told you the silly Joe Miller, 300 drives a day, 6. This is true. 6 weeks to get him up to the speed. Even if a person could put a little bit of what long drivers do, up the amount of drivers they're hitting, try and max out the swing they're using, start to drag their swing up, and when they go back to their default mode, they'll actually be faster, okay, but feeling that they still can find a fairway. And that's really the secret, because the secret isn't just standing there and smashing it.
Yeah.
And long drivers are in a different way, because they've in theory only got to hit the grid once or twice, so they're playing a slightly different game, and their clubs aren't built for accuracy, they're built for distance. But even if you can take a snippet of what those guys do in their training and their daily, you can up their swing speeds. It's a real skill that can be learned.
Cool, that was fantastic. I mean, that video will be a bit long because I just really enjoyed talking with Lee, do you know what I mean, man?
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Learned a lot there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more as well for me. I've never really thought about growing up training speed. I was always training accuracy.
Yeah.
And I think the modern era of player has to do both, and you can see it from Justin Thomas and those players coming through, that they're not afraid just to kill it, are they? To work to that max speed.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting when we hit shots and chat with Langer, because obviously he's competed before, during and after the Tiger era. Wow, that was fun. Lee was a smart guy, and I just chatting with pros who like-minded, or even ones who, just ones who are working hard at their profession. I could spend all day with them. But I'm not strong enough, and I ran out of energy far too quick. So why don't we try and offer some ideas for golfers of how to improve that delivery, and as well for the people out there who feel like they have got good delivery, how to even maybe get some more speed. So we've talked about angle of attack a lot. Let's give them some practical ideas on how to change angle of attack.
Sure.
So what have you got set up here, Lee? If we look at this, we've got ball on a tee, just standard height.
This is a standard height, yeah.
And then you got another tee behind. What's
yeah? So I like this as a visual, really, because a lot of people, when they're talking about angle of attack, don't quite under the concept of the fact the club is swinging down, it reaches the bottom, and then it's swinging upwards. So the visual of this is the fact that that tee indicates, a bit exaggerated, but it indicates a new bottom of their swing.
So in effect, this one is where we want them to get the focus in, is the bottom.
Correct, yeah.
Because if you're bottoming here, you're going to be hitting this one on the way up. Obviously, I've seen lots of drills where we put something here.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something earlier, which you're not a massive fan of that.
No, I have used that with a little bit of success. The problem I've found with that a little bit is by putting the tee there, the person's so obsessed by missing that front tee, you then check strike location, and the strike location is always low in the face, and then you've got a low launch spinny one.
So all they're doing is moving their whole swing in effect up.
Correct. So they might when you look at the launch monitor, they might have tweaked the angle of attack a little bit, but they've actually moved a low point is upward a little bit. So they've ended up with a bottomy spinner.
Yes.
So they haven't got the high launch low spin, they've got a low launch high spin. It's all the wrong way around. So
we're going, how far behind is this, are we saying? This is 2-3 inches?
Yeah, and it depends on the individual a bit. I like to exaggerate, 3-4 inches from there.
Yeah.
And then just as we work on it from here, I'd actually preset them with the club behind the tee. I found this has worked because it tends to produce better impact alignments at address, as in head further back, because the visual's further back.
Yeah.
Slightly better shoulder angles and spinal tilts.
Yeah.
But the thing with this I've found that works really well is in clipping that first tee, that's low point for them.
Yeah.
The club then is travelling upwards, but they're much more likely to get this great strike location. They might sit middle, or for your average man, lady, who might do better, high toe.
Fantastic. So a simple drill that people could do at home to find that perfect drive, to find that upward hit, post that downward hit, tee 2-3 inches behind, basically trying to focus this as your low point, hitting that front ball.